Yes, you're watching the South Australian Sports Show. Time to turn our attention to grade cricket. So we thought we'd bring in the grand finalists. We don't want to fight here, fellas. If you could avoid that. Ben, of course, from Kensington. Lee and Mark from West Torrens that won the final. I guess, firstly, boys, congratulations to you. And Mark, first year coaching, win a premiership. It's just easy, is it?
Yeah, only way from here is down, I guess. So.
Well, you're a step closer to getting the sack. Don't worry about that.
Someone said to me today, hopefully they'll bring in a fourth competition next year, so I've got something else we can win. But look, yeah, fantastic by the guys, and you know we've had a lot of help, support staff, and players have been fantastic. So it's not always just the coaches, you know, in sport.
What did you learn this year?
There's a lot more fun winning, and it's not so good for your health. That's one thing. But yeah, look, I guess for me, coaching rather than being a player, I guess you feel like you've got a lot more control. When you're a player, you've got the ball in your hand, you feel like you can control the game, and I was a bit of a fiery character, but as a coach, I guess I had to try to be a little bit more controlled, and sure, you can ask Lee later, but I think I did that pretty well this year. Managed to know when to be around the boys and when to maybe disappear, go elsewhere. So those sort of things, and it is completely different when you're a coach to a player.
Ben, third year coaching for you, so you've got a bit more experience than Mark. What do you think you've learnt the most over the 3-year journey as a coach?
Yeah, probably just where we started, we were relying on our senior players a lot, and they sort of drove the culture and drove the performances. And what it's sort of shown this year, in the back end of the year, we lost a few of those guys, and last season we lost a few, and it just sort of showed to me how important it is to have good players coming through your club all the time. And for me as a coach, not to invest my entire time with the A grade, but just to keep an eye on those guys coming through the system, so that in a year or two, we've got a batch of players ready to sort of step into that grade. And this year probably just highlighted that a bit, that we need those players coming through the system to take the pressure off those old names and old heads.
Lee, it's interesting, great end to the season for you guys, and yet last year there was talk about West Torrens maybe not being in the competition. I mean, what a great way to silence those critics.
Yeah, no, it was, last year was a particularly tough time for everyone involved in the club, and there's probably a lot of people that have played at the club for longer periods of time than I have, and are very, very invested in it, and it was quite hard to look at those volunteers and those people on the board that had committed so many hours, I guess, to making the cricket club such a great place, and to see how much we struggled last year and sort of the fight that was going on there. It makes what we've achieved this year so much more rewarding, I think, to know that it's not just for the players and for the coaches that were immediately involved, but for all of those supporters and all of those volunteers that help out and dedicate so much time, that it's for them as well.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Lee? Because not only were they talking about cutting West Torrens, they're talking about cutting Port Adelaide, and you have to beat Port Adelaide in the semi-final to get to the final. So it's just bizarre how quickly it can turn, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was quite ironic, I guess, and probably would have been amazing for a story if we had to play Port probably in the next step in the grand final. But to have us both in the semi-finals, I think, was a real testament of the character of both clubs. And I think it sends a pretty positive message too. Definitely that we've got enough players and enough depth in that location to be able to produce good cricket all the time.
Mark, the quality of the competition, how would you rate it these days? Is it better than it was? Is it about the same?
Oh, look, probably would like to see a few more quicks around, but in saying that, South Australia's in a good place at the moment. There, you know, with the quicks they've got currently in Alice Springs, you know, fantastic first-class bowlers. There are definitely 2 or 3 on the way up. I believe we'll only get quicker. Spin's another issue, I think. We need to find some more spinners for sure. We managed to recruit one from England this season gone, and he stayed up until the finals, and he was quality. I think he was one of the better spinners going around. So I think that's probably a weakness there. But what I have really been impressed with is some of the batting, and it was my first chance to see Johnny Dalton this year, and he was fantastic. As soon as I saw him, I thought, wow, this kid's a first-class cricketer, and it was great that he, 1, had a fantastic season, and 2, got rewarded, and he's with the boys now in Alice Springs too.
Penny, we talk about the batters. I mean, if you're talking about developing the good batsmen into grade cricket and then hopefully stepping, like Dols did, in to Sheffield Shield, there seems to have been a little bit of a weakness this year with the Redbacks with their batting. Are there some good kids coming through to put some pressure on those guys?
There are. There's a big batch coming through in sort of under 19, under 17 age group, but they're probably a little way off first class cricket. But speaking to some of our guys that have played for the Redbacks, there's almost two stages you go through. You come on the scene and perhaps make an impact, but once you've been there for a little while, the bowlers in the other states figure you out a little bit and they work out where to bowl to you and where your weaknesses are and how to set the fields. So it gets harder again once you've been sort of exposed to that level for a little while. And we've seen some of our cricketers make an impact when they first go up to that level and look promising, and then it's year 2, 3 that it gets a little bit harder. So I think that's sort of the next stage for some of those Redbacks guys, is that now that the bowlers and everyone's had a good look at you, can you elevate your game again to start consistently producing runs?
Can I ask you about Elliot Opie then? Because he falls into that group a little bit. He's been on the fringe now, hasn't got a contract. Could you see another, if he doesn't get contracted by the Redbacks, could you see him leaving and perhaps seeking somewhere else?
If he got the opportunity, I could. His Futures League performances this year have been great. He took a 7-for in one game. Has been a regular in the South Australian team. But with the quicks they've got, there's sort of 4 guys ahead of him in the queue that are fit, in good age bracket, taking wickets and possibly not going to play for Australia. So it makes it difficult for those next level of quicks to get through. So yeah, I could see another state, if they want a guy who's 6'4" and hits good spots and bowls good pace all day, I could see another state certainly throwing him a contract.
You got a good leggy, haven't you?
Yeah,
and he played well in the final.
We do.
Tell us about him.
So Lloyd Pope is his name. He's come through our juniors, a sort of a young leg spinner, and the last probably 12 or 18 months he's made amazing strides. He's gone from playing C-grade cricket, sort of in our third team, I think he took 13 wickets in one game in our second grade, and all of a sudden he was playing in an A-grade semi-final last year as a 16-year-old, and gives the ball a big rip. He's been up to the centre of excellence and been measured with their rev counters up there, and he measures really sort of high
rev
up.
counters?
Yeah, sort of along with sort of Farwad Ahmed and Sweps, and he's sort of right up at that level as well. So yeah, so he's got some tricks. He's got a wrong and a slider and tells us all about them. But yeah, this has been his first sort of full year of A-grade cricket, and he's found it challenging at times. But yeah, I think he's got something. He's got a bit of spirit to him, and he's got enough weapons that I think he can get good batters out on flat wickets. So yeah, so really exciting. We haven't had a leg spinner for a long time.
Got to keep him coming through.
Yeah.
Got to have leg spinners.
Lee, just quickly, 104 for you, mate, in the final. Did you get to the nervous 90s? When you talk to the cricketers, they talk about the nervous 90s. Ben wants you out the nervous 9s, but at the 90s, mate, does it go through your head? Is it something that happens?
No, it probably would if I'd ever knew what I was on, but I've got I've got teammates that are very insistent on not telling me what I'm on. So I even at one stage, one of the boys ran a drink out to me because I needed to change my gloves, and I asked him if I was close, and he said, "I think so."
Is that right? So you genuinely don't know what you're on?
I had no idea. No. So
is that unusual?
I think I've probably at good levels of cricket, you obviously got a scoreboard and have your name and runs next to it. And we've played at a couple of grounds, I think, where we've had that this year as well. But probably, I think a lot of guys, some guys probably count their runs that they're on and they know. But when you start getting a few runs, it probably gets harder to count. You've got enough things to worry about.
It's sort of be awkward, wouldn't it? Because if you didn't know and you made 100, you'd sort of just run through maybe for the 100, and then the boys over in the stand would say you made 100, and then all of a sudden you put your bat up. Like it'd almost be like it was a week late.
Well, it's a bit down, just a standard 100, really. Mark, just quickly before we go, the club, I mean, the A-grade, the one-dayers, the 2020s, the big three, from bottom to all three, what do you put that down to in 1 year?
Oh, look, it's lots of things. It's a dedication to the players. I mean, Lee's a great example of that. Lee made his first A-grade 100 this year and went on and made 3, and one being obviously in the final. So that's, obviously a fantastic achievement. But I know Lee...
Did you know that, or did you just finding that out now?
Have you just received an email?
But look, he outside of Tuesdays and Thursday night training, I drive past the ground on my way home from work, and I see Lee there most nights, and he works really hard, and it brings other guys out with him, and I'll see different guys. Sometimes I'll chuck a UE, go back and just have a look and see, oh, right, he's out here tonight, and you really respect that the guys have earned this. Obviously, there's been the guys weren't in a happy place last year, and they wanted it to turn things around. So that's been motivational, obviously, and hopefully I've put a little bit of my my thoughts and the way I wanted things to work there at training. I had a few different things without giving too much away that I thought could change the cricket club around too. So I think it's a combination of lots of things.
It looks like it worked, boys. Appreciate you coming in. Ben, commiserations, but there's always another year, boys. Congratulations. Stay with us. Plenty to still come on the Sports Show.